Hello and welcome to Paxton Road TV. This is the reaction show for the game Spurs versus Southampton. The score: Spurs 2, Southampton 1, and Spurs are now into where are we? Are we sixth? I can't even know where we are now. Where am I?
We are, yeah.
No, we can't be. We can't be fifth. That's too high. That's nosebleed territory for us. Anyway, good evening and welcome to FPB Sports.
Yeah, no, sixth. 2 points off fifth.
Yeah.
2 points off fifth.
Yeah.
Let's get a little bit ahead of myself. Good evening. Subscribe, like, share, comment. We have on the show tonight Mike Hotspur Hustler. We have Marlon Bashman and we have Darius 3K. And guys, it's good to see a win. I think that's the main thing. It's good to see a win. First half performance, Marlon. What did you think? Go to you first. What did you think of what did you think of the first half? What did you think of the game overall?
The first half, I just think they were a bit nervous, to be honest. But they tried, done all right. Southampton are obviously pressing them quite a lot in the first 20 minutes, but I think we coped with it. As I just said, I just think the whole nerve, they're just nervous about the whole situation. I think the second half came at the right time because came out pressing. And we have got better players than them. But yeah, so overall, deserve the win. Right now, I'll take any win. From getting a chance to get in. Top four.
So right about now, Ryan Mason is the most successful Spurs manager ever with 100% victory.
Probably the youngest manager ever for us as well.
No, he is. No, he actually is. He's youngest in Premier League history. So
29 and 312 days, I think it was, something like that.
Darius, I weren't a fan of Bale. I thought Bale, I was moaning. I was thinking, I weren't going to moan. Then I moaned. You went and scored. And I was like, look at that.
As it always happens, Marlon. As it always happens.
You should have seen. It was all going off on Twitter when I was watching the game. There's people on there going, this is ridiculous. This is terrible. Effing and blinding. We sold our souls and all this rest of it. And then it went a little bit quiet when we won the game. But anyway, you can't complain about everything. We've had a tumultuous 3 or 4 days in the life of football, let alone the life of Spurs, losing our manager, all the ups and downs with the ESL. Darius, what did you think of the performance?
You know what? And I don't mean to disregard your question, but I don't actually think the performance mattered. I think the performance was good, but I think in this case, and like you said, with the past couple of days that's happened and the new manager and obviously everything that's gone on, I think a win is the most important thing. I think the first half was very, very worrying. I thought that those players don't really seem like they care, even if Mourinho is gone. And I thought I would see a lot more of a bounce, should I say, from those players. But the second half came in. Southampton did play well in that first half. They pressed pretty intensely. They were very good from set pieces. It was obvious that goal was going to come from a set piece. But that second half was a big improvement, and it wasn't just a big improvement on the performance. It was a big improvement on the mentality. You could see that those players were working hard all the way up until 90 minutes. I saw even in the 93rd or 94th minute, they were pressing in groups, and it seemed like I felt more secure than sitting back and holding on to a lead in the 94th minute.
100%.
Then, do you know what I mean? With Jose, and I'm not going to go on about Jose. He's gone now. He's out of the club. There's no point in going on about it anymore. But that sort of style didn't help the players that were on the pitch and the players that he was using. And Mason proved that if you just keep him 20, 30 yards further up the pitch, they might not even be able to make it to that side of the pitch. So I just thought it was a good performance. And I thought it was what we all expect from a Tottenham side and what we really want to see going forward with the new manager and with those players. And if they are to stay in and play for that new manager, I don't want to see them kind of go back into that shell of disbelief. I want to see them fight for every manager and fight for the badge more. So I don't want them seeing fighting for individual managers anymore. Because like you said, it's been 2 now. And if it's a third one after this, then I can't defend these players anymore.
Well, let's
get it right. They showed, sorry.
Go ahead.
On Tottenham Hotspur's TV, they were showing that in the second half how he moved the players up, and a lot more of our players were actually positioned in their half. And it's going to what you said, Darius. Instead of us sitting back, we're further up the field, so it took a bit more longer for them to get there, Southampton, or to even get through those gaps. But even Dyer looked right today.
And that's because, and somebody said in our chat, it's because he's not got that much pressure on him, has he?
That's true.
Yeah, but like I said, I think a lot of people probably questioning the appointment of Ryan Mason. He's interim. Let's not get this twisted. He's not going to be there for 3 years. He's not even going to be there come the end of the summer. He's there for a period of time. He doesn't even want the job. So let's all just calm down about this. He's doing this, and there was so much when we went 1-0 down. Everybody was getting a bit excited. Like I said, he's 29 years of age. He's playing the players that he trusts, and we just got to see how they play. Like I said, the first half was a bit flat, but the second half they did perform. So, Mike, what did you think of the overall team selection? And we'll come to that because I've got my team selection wasn't too bad on that. But I'm asking you, in terms of the team selection, was it the right formation for you? Right team selection?
Yeah, I think so. I think I suppose if any position that might have been questionable, it might have just been Vinicius not playing up top. But I thought the shape looked good. I thought the selection, the players that played, I thought it was the right calls. I think Spurs just needed to grow into the game. It was quite obvious from the kickoff. Southampton pressed us really, really well, to be fair to them. But you can't press for 90 minutes, not to that intensity. So at some point they were always gonna drop off, weren't they, or blow out of steam. And I think what was pleasing to see from Tottenham is that we still look relatively comfortable, even though we was 1-0 down. And I think that goal that they scored, it was a good header. You can't. It's just one of them, isn't it? I mean,
fantastic header. The header was fantastic.
There's nothing Luis could have done on that. He beat him well. But apart from that, in terms of Southampton, and I thought we were relatively comfortable, to be honest, even though we were pressured and the press was good from Southampton. But second half, whatever Mason said to them in the second half, it must have done wonders, because you could see the sort of intensity which we've probably been lacking from Mourinho. I mean, I can't remember the last time we pressed like we did in the second half. I mean, and we were pressing them to the end. 95th minute?
Yeah, 95th. I saw.
Yeah, and so it felt like there was a different vibe, and I think one of the commentators mentioned about the Mason 7, which I think it was like 7 of his teammates were playing today. And to be fair, if he's got the trust in those players obviously back him as well, because he's one of them at the end of the day. So I think it's probably, if you're going to have an interim manager, it could be a little bit of a match made in heaven, in terms of they're quite a good fit for each other because they trust him, he trusts them, rub each other's backs, all that sort of scenario. So I was quite pleased to see the second half. I thought it was quite a good second half performance.
Yeah, Mason, I think not Mason, Chris Coleman said it quite right. It's a very thin line between, having managing players that you've played with, because at the end of the day, they trust you, blah blah blah. But if you then have to make big decisions and you have to leave people out, and that's the problem. Had it gone a little bit pear-shaped instead of maybe you've gone 2-0 down, the pressure would have been on him a little bit more. The goal itself, it was a good goal. I can't not. Danny Ings is a fantastic striker. Or it could have been a little bit tighter, but there was nothing Lloris could have done about that. It was a great header. They were putting a lot of pressure on us, and that's probably a little bit of a warm-up, or at least a way to kind of see how the game's going to go on Sunday, because that amount of pressure is what City can do, and City can do that for longer. I think second half, they definitely ran out of steam, and we definitely improved our game. So that balance then really shifted. Marlon, you wanted to say something? I know you kind of...
Yeah, there were two things. So I just think we need to find a position for Bale. I don't know. I don't think he works on any wings, because he's not going to take on anyone. But I know you're putting him there to obviously put good balls into the box. But I still think there needs to be a position found for him if he's going to stay in his team. Because to me, without that goal, and then after he had a little 5 minutes after, he weren't really doing much.
Well, Chris Coleman gave him man of the match, but that's
obviously Chris Coleman gave him man of the match.
That's a typical world-class player, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought Bale was all right. I think what it was with Bale today was they put a lot of pressure because they knew he was going to be the danger man. So you could see them doubling up on him at times. But he took his goal well, and I think he did enough to say to me he's now playing for himself. I think before he was Jose, well, we don't want to go back onto the Jose thing, but Jose has sucked some of the life out of these players, and at least didn't allow them maybe to express themselves as it did. And playing a lot higher up, as we've all talked about, certainly increased that press. It made us get the ball back a little bit higher up the pitch, and then we were in positions to do something about it. I thought we was unlucky with the goal that was disallowed, but that little bit of luck that we needed, because that penalty was very close, but it was a penalty. It was a penalty by letter of the law.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can't complain at that. We can't.
Did it hit his elbow though? Do you think that hit his elbow?
I think that was handball. I
think it was. So I think either one is a penalty.
I think it was too close. They're saying, though, isn't it?
No. Well, remember the one that Emre Can handballed against what's it called?
City.
Very similar. Dortmund game. Very similar. And that was
what I found interesting with Son's goal. They disallowed it. Did you see Arsenal's goal against Fulham?
No,
When it was in front of the goalie.
Yeah, but the thing was, he was not going to save it. No matter what, even if there was nobody there, he wasn't saving that anyway.
Nah.
So I'm not even sure why. But let's just have a look the because I like this today. Listen, this was my predicted lineup. One thing is, where was Rodon? He wasn't even in the squad today, which was a bit of a surprise to me.
Nah, I don't think it was a surprise, Shane, because I think that back four we saw today will be the back four we see on Sunday.
Yeah,
I think you're right in that. I think you are right, because I think
it makes sense. And it makes sense for him to play that back four, because if he's going to play him on Sunday, at least give him half a fighting chance and play him tonight to get used to each other to go forward for Sunday, isn't it?
And that's what you said. I think you said because Rodon is cup tied, he can't play on Sunday. So you're right in what you just said there. Why play Rodon if you know he can't play Sunday? See what the back line's going to do. Dyer and Alderweireld. And to be fair, like I keep saying, there was a couple of times in the first half where crosses came and they didn't deal with them great, but I think they grew into the game and they certainly got more confident. And like I said, Dyer, when he's not got pressure on him, I think he's a good ball player. He can play the ball. He can make passes.
I say that all the time. His passing is great.
His passing is great when he's not under pressure. But when he's under pressure, he seems to just lose a little bit. And that separates a top-class player. Sorry, Matt, go on.
No, I think you're always going to be under a bit of pressure if you're always playing in your 18-yard box, aren't you?
Correct. 100%. If you're dropping deep, you are going to make that. And that's what I'm saying. You make mistakes in your box, it usually leads to a goal. So that pressure has ramped up, obviously. This was the actual... Who does?
Aurier. He scares me.
That's the risk you're going to have to take with Aurier. But listen,
to be fair to him, I thought he played well today. I thought he was quite solid. I thought he was more solid than Reguilon.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Reguilon was not very good at the
worried me a little bit.
Yeah.
He worried me a lot, Mike. He worried me a lot, mate.
He was horrible. Second half, he was good. First half, he was horrible. He was giving the ball away. He was getting bypassed. And that's the thing. He was getting bypassed by his man. And I thought Regan was a quick player. But again, it just shows you sometimes, when you're not playing with confidence, it can really affect all your game. This was the actual lineup today. So the only changes were we put Dyer in and we took out Vinicius. And Moura went in. How did you think Moura played up top?
Nah.
Difficult for him. I think Marlon made a good point. I think Bale playing through the middle. You know what, Marlon? I think the best position for Bale is a partnered strike partnership or part of a two. Because I think that if you've got somebody up front like Vinicius or Kane who can distract those centre backs, and you've got Bale who can drift out to the right if he wants to, drift out to the left if he wants to, because he can put a mean ball in Gareth Bale. I'll never ever discredit that. The way he kicks a ball, it's similar. It's like De Bruyne, where it's like it's almost pinpoint every time. So I think Bale just needs a little bit more freedom and less responsibility. I think he's a fast guy. Obviously, he's still got his pace, but he's the explosiveness against people like Walker Peters and faster fullbacks. It's not gonna always do the job. So I just think him playing through the middle probably would have helped him, and Lucas playing on the right would have been a much better switch. Do
you think he would have been better off playing as the number 9 today?
Yeah, I think I would have liked to see. I would have preferred to see, because if we're playing, because at some points I was seeing Lo Celso playing on the last man. I think it was more of a rotation of just having somebody in that middle as opposed to somebody designated. It was just anybody in that middle, and the other players filled the spaces around. I think if Bale was more on Bednarek and Vestergaard, I think that he could have done a lot more than Lucas did. I'll say that. And Lucas on the right, I think could have done a lot more than Bale did on the right, because Lucas is got good dribbling skills, and he was dribbling a lot this game. So I think obviously we said when he plays on the right, it kind of restricts him to one side. But if you've got Bale creating space for him, then you know what I mean. If they're moving, if they're moving together, then obviously they can find space. You know what I mean. So I think that it was just a case of maybe we did need a designated striker, but at the end of the day, the results are there. So I don't think anybody really matters.
What did you guys think of Lo Celso today? How do you think he performed? Do you think he's done enough to play?
Struggled.
Sunday?
I think
he struggled.
I think he just needs minutes. That's what I think. He just needs minutes.
I think he needs to play.
Yeah,
get in there, and I think they just need to gel and play more together. Them three in the middle, if it comes off and they play more together, they're going to be dangerous. Even though he didn't play that great today either, but I still think there's potential there.
Lo Celso is a very good ball player. Technically, he's very good. I think he does lack a little bit of fitness because he didn't look.
It is fitness.
But then I said that about the whole team in that first half. They just looked unfit, and that's what I sent out. I thought they don't look fit. But then
you think maybe it's that Jose thing in the back of their minds, like just
you know what it was. I just think Southampton were really pressing a lot, and they just made us look a lot unfit. Well, looked less fit than what we actually were. Because second half, when they dropped off, you could see there was a big drop off, and we were really up there. And this backs it up in terms of the stats. And let's just go to the stats for the game because this will back up what I think was said. So as you can see, we're clearly dominant in possession.
Yes.
12 shots, 10, 3 shots on target to their 5. So they did have some quality opportunities.
Definitely at the start, yeah.
And that's probably the first half because second half we definitely did do a lot more. But that's what this is the sort of stuff I want to see us have the high 50s to early 60s in terms of possession against a team like Southampton. Now, they're a good team and they do keep possession well. But this is what I'm saying about us as a team. We should be able to. They're not 16th for no reason. You know what I mean? As much as they pressed in the first half, they couldn't do that for 90 minutes, as Mike said. So they were always going to drop off. And this is why they're in the position that they are, because they're not able to do that for 90 minutes. And hence the reason they've lost now as many points from winning positions as we have. So I want to see us have these high possession stats. And they went out. Like I said, they got the victory. They've went out and done it, and that's all that really matters, really. In terms of, I guess, the back four, is that going to be the back four that starts at the weekend? Do you think?
100%, in my opinion. Yeah.
I
don't see who else can come in really. Who can come in?
Who would you trust?
I won't trust Sanchez, and the other ones no. So
they're just going to target Ori. I swear, every 100%. Game they put like 4. No. Realistically, like 2 man on him. I was like, oh my days, he's going to struggle.
See, I don't think Aurier. I'll go back to that point again. I don't think Aurier struggled there. If anything, they'll target Reguilon because he just looks. I don't know. At the moment, he just looks a bit of off the pace and a bit of a former shadow of himself. So if you're going to get any joy, like I think Southampton in the first half, the ball came in between, I think it was Dyer and Reguilon. Reguilon slid in. He's not quite caught the ball properly, like as in to hook it. It's gone under his feet, and luckily Lloris was out and sort of, he saved it obviously. But I think you'd get more joy out of attacking Reguilon than you probably would Aurier at the moment.
You know what it is? You know what it is for me? Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go on.
I just think that. And we've seen this now. Reguilon, when I saw Reguilon at Sevilla, he was very much a player who can't be told like, oh, if you do this, you're gonna get scolded. He kind of needs to be allowed to make mistakes, and a lot of these players do. And Ndombele is another one of those. And with Mourinho, I think the issue was if they made that mistake, they might lose their place in the team, or they might even be subbed. I think Ryan Mason isn't going to be the sort of guy to kind of say if Reguilon tries to attempt to dribble or Ndombele attempts to dribble, Ryan Mason he's not going to shoot them down for it. And you could see that because the bravery in those players was a lot higher in the second half. They kind of were still wanted to take those risks and beat their man and work to their strengths. And then in the end, that seemed to kind of breed our goal because obviously Son's still there. Reguilon's making movements down the line. He's not stopping. He's not thinking of defending because he wants to kind of rectify maybe a bad performance that he thinks he's had, and he's continuing. And that's what I want to see. I want to see players try and rectify their mistakes by, you know what I mean, working and trying attacking. If you're a defender, you defend. If you're an attacker, you attack. So
and they all look like they want. As soon as they got that first goal, the team just looked. I don't know, it just looked different, didn't it? I mean, it's obviously that honeymoon period now where there's an interim manager in place. They've all got that bit of freedom to sort of play the game to the way that they're probably all used to, and it probably works best for them. Like the possession and pressing, it probably suits them better than quite clearly sitting back and doing the counter. Because, like you said, Darius, when you're playing that counter attack, you're always sort of playing under pressure, aren't you? Because you're just waiting for that opportunity to break free. But
as well as that, they weren't scared of making mistakes today. I think under Jose, when they try things, they make mistakes. It seems like the pressure almost ramps up on them. Today, there was mistakes, but you could see on the sideline, Ryan Mason was trying to encourage them more, and he wasn't saying too much, but doing enough to say that he's involved in the game, but trying to get the best out of the players. And I think that's what we need. We just need to get the best out of some of these players. Because Son, another one, he got his goal, obviously with the one that was offside, and I was really hoping and praying that he would get a goal in the game, because as people have said, he kind of plays in bunches. He gets a lot of goals, a lot of assists, and then he kind of goes a bit quiet. But that should really set him up in good stead for now for the weekend. So that was good to see. Any other standout performances for you guys in terms of standout?
Marlon, it's not even worth the joke, mate. It's not even worth the joke.
You're joking.
Nah, can I say Lloris? I think Lloris played well, and I think Lloris is going to be a big factor in the next 7 games, because I think that Ryan Mason is going to need those players, those leaders on the pitch to help him through those games, because we're not really going to expect Ryan Mason to be bringing out tactical masterclasses for these next few games, but we are going to expect those players to kind of support him and play for him and not throw him under the bus like they really did Jose. So I want those players like Lloris, like Kane, like Hojbjerg, like Alderweireld to take responsibility and act like the leaders on the pitch that they are, because I think that Lloris was great today, and those saves, they surely that galvanizes your team. When you make those double saves, you just think, wow, if he's doing that, then I don't want him to concede.
At that early start of the game, if they'd have scored off of that, we would have all been, oh, here we go again. The defense can't do this. And then the pressure would have ramped up on him. And we would have all been the same. I know I was definitely thinking this is not good here. But then you had to settle down and think, right, this is the guy's first game in charge. You could see he was liaising with both Ledley and Chris on the sideline, and I think it was the other guy. Is it Gibbs? So they were all kind of conversing, which is good. And I actually think that he'll be more of a textbook manager for this next 7 games. What I mean by that, he's learned the badges recently, so he's going to be using the philosophy of the FA in terms of the FA coaching style, whereas Jose is now working off experience and all his weight. And the ways that he was working was not always conducive to getting the best out of some of these players. And like I said, I've done the FA up to level 3, and I know how they really, it's all about positions and, creating the space and doing this and making sure the players are in the right areas and, getting the tactics right. And I think if we can get the tactics right, we still have a good chance against City. Obviously, the players have got to turn up. Any thoughts on Kane? Do you think we'll see him for the final?
I think he will. May not start, but I think he's going to play.
I honestly don't know. It's one of them for me. I flip a coin.
Darius is on mute.
I was just saying it stinks of that Champions League final if he starts. It stinks of that Champions League final if he starts, because I feel like he's not going to be 100% fit. So if he comes off the bench, I won't be as mad. But if he starts, if he's not 100% fit, then it's going to be kind of like carrying a player. And I know it's Harry Kane, but against Man City, you can't have any passengers, really.
If he's not 100%, no, say 100%. I think he can be 80% fit. If he's like he was in the Champions League, we shouldn't play him. But the way that he kind of was walking around after the game against Everton, and he's like, there's a chance. There is a chance, but they shouldn't risk him just because we want to win the final. Because if he does, he could really put him out for the summer. And obviously England, with the Euros coming up, I don't think Tottenham really bothered about that. But certainly as an England fan, we wouldn't want to see him. As the captain, you wouldn't want to see. There's going to be pressure on probably not to play. So
I mean, the thing with it might have just been a case.
Sorry, Mike. This is what Premier Hotspur TV saying. Kane will start, no worries, guys. And I you know what? I think so as well. Sorry, go on, Mike.
Yeah, I was just going to say they've probably not played him on purpose today. Even if he was fit, they're probably like, no, we're not taking a risk of you. Yeah, take another few days or take another day or 2 off, because his match fitness will be there. It's just, as I say, I think they'll just do it for.
They might inject his ankle.
He'll probably. I would have thought they would strap it up at the very least.
Bionic ankle.
He will. I
have it strapped up.
Yeah, I cannot not see Kane playing. And there's been no words coming out of the camp. Not really heard anything to say, this and that.
Yeah,
but
true.
He was in the stand today. He didn't look like he had anything in terms of a boot on his foot, which is a good sign, I guess. But Yeah, if we don't see Kane, I'll be very surprised. Go on, Marlon.
Question: what formation was we actually playing today? Even though it came as like a 4-2. Wait, am I making up? Was it 4-3-3? What was that?
It was a 4-2-3-1.
It was
With
4-2.
Hotspur on his own and them two off him. The Celso and
So
But even Hotspur was pressing quite high as well. He was coming out.
It was the press though that I think
Yeah.
probably it was a 4-2-3-1, but that press. I mean, you see that last 5 minutes, for example, in the left-hand corner. I think there was like four it was like four of them that were pressing in a diamond formation. You could see that press in a diamond, and that's probably what made it look like it was almost a 4-3-3 at times, just because of the.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. I think the issue, not the issue, but I think the reason that we couldn't really distinguish formations in the press is because you could tell with managers that coach presses, they have systems, and you can see quite clearly when a manager is coaching pressing, he gets them to press in a certain formation, either like 4-4-2, 4-3-3. You can clearly see that Ryan Mason hasn't got to that level of coaching, and they're just kind of pressing for pressing's sake. I bet he's told them to press, and there's not really much order to the press, but they're still pressing.
I don't know, because I think Powell.
I think there was. I think there was. I think there was a right. So this is what it looked like on paper. So it was 4-2-3-1 on paper, but we had Moura playing almost a false nine. He didn't play on the shoulder. So if you watch the game, that's why they were making up the amount numbers in the middle, because what Southampton did, they play like a 4-2-2-2. So that means they've got a lot down there, and their fullbacks are the ones that give us
central, isn't it? All of it central.
So everything was central. So when we play the false nine, there was a lot of players in the position. And what Moura does well is he comes in and then he runs with the ball. So it's almost like wherever he runs, he's just going into that area. So then somebody has to also take that space. So it's all over the place, but it's a bit fluid, and that's not a bad thing, because nobody then knows who to pick up, who to mark. It didn't work so well in the first half, but it worked a lot better in the second half.
And that's because the legs of those players got worse, isn't it?
Yeah. This is commented, agreed, Harry Kane to start, and that's on Paul Brown. I think we will see Harry Kane. Just a final thing then, gents. Obviously, after the week that's been,
feels like a month.
It feels like a whole season has just gone by in 2 or 3 days. I can't tell you how, just waking up each day, what's gone on next. But obviously, Jose's moved on. We have got Ryan Mason in for the next 6 games now.
7.
Just a quick 6 now. 6 now. We've got 5 league games left. That's all we've got left now. Cool. And 1 final. Who do you want to see? And I know it's a bit of a long shot question at the moment, but we'll have just a couple minutes on it. Who do you want to see as the next manager? Darius.
I think everybody knows who I want to see as our next manager. I think Julian Nagelsmann is just it seems too perfect. It almost seems too perfect. Almost seems too perfect of a fit, because, and I've been screaming, I absolutely adore Julian Nagelsmann. I think that he blends perfectly pragmatism and
sorry,
Simon, no, not for me. Not for me.
Simon's having it today.
Not for me.
Not for me, Simon. We're not having this one today. No, sorry.
But no, just on Nagelsmann, I think he blends pragmatism and modern pressing football quite well. And what I like about him is his ability to improve players, and that's something that Tottenham desperately need at the moment. I think Tottenham have average players on the bench, and he could basically maybe fool a lot of teams, because we are trying to sell at the moment. He could maybe fool a lot of these teams into thinking these players are better than they are. And you would probably see a similar style of football that Southampton played, because they do also Leipzig play 4-2-2-2. So I just think that everything that he kind of believes in and stands by kind of goes with Tottenham, in a sense that it's almost a match made in heaven. Now, if you give Daniel Levy, a guy who can improve young players, he doesn't really have to go out and spend, and then he can maybe. But look, it worked though. Until obviously after 5 years. So I just think that we sort of need. I think Tottenham. I've realised now, Tottenham kind of just need to get lucky with a manager, and hopefully it works out, because I don't really think an elite manager in Tottenham works well. I've seen Sarri links. I just don't think that will work out. Allegri links. I don't think any of those will work out.
No Allegri, no Sarri.
I don't think it will work out. I think we just need one of those not risky. We need one of those youthful managers, and it might work out and it might not.
We need a manager that's going to let the players play. We need a manager that's strong enough to be able to stick with his own philosophy as well. We need someone who's tactically astute, which Nagelsmann ticks all them boxes. He's young enough. We need a manager also that the players are going to respect and want to stay. Because obviously, if we bring someone in that, if we brought in someone like a Sarri, I don't see Harry Kane staying. I don't see I say not staying, but not wanting to really,
being convinced.
Sorry, you know what I mean? I think they want someone progressive, as you said, Darius, but then there's going to allow them to be able to be flexible tactically. Marlon, come to you next. Any particular? You have no idea. You must have. You was one of them ones who wanted Jose out. You must have had a shot.
I don't even know who I want.
Marlon wants Poch back. I know Marlon wants that Poch story.
I was going to say that. I think I'm too hooked on Poch too much. Realistically, the Leipzig manager, because he's done a lot with them, to bring them from where they were to where they are now, he's definitely up there. Leeds manager,
Eddie Howe.
That is a good shout. No, not
what, Eddie Howe? Are you having a laugh? No.
Leeds manager or even Rogers. Sorry. Those three for me. I just think people that play football let teams express themselves. Today
Rogers, what's he done, mate? Come on.
I'm not feeling the Rogers
thing. I just like the way he plays football.
I like the way he plays
football. He always flops at the last hurdle. He just dies at the last hurdle, and I'm just like,
And I think
I like him. Don't get me wrong. He's a good manager. But I just think he just drops at the final hurdle.
Seems perfect for Tottenham, in my opinion.
Yeah,
fifth place finishes.
My three would either be Nagelsmann, Allegri, or do you know what? I'm going to put this out there, Potter.
Yes, Mike. Yes, Mike. I'm here for this.
The only thing about Potter is his personality seems that he's going to be a yes man. He looks like Gareth Southgate, and he probably looks. Yeah. I
like him. I like him.
I really like his style of football. I really love the way he plays the game. But he looks like a yes man to me. The pressure will be so ramped up at Spurs. Would he crumble under it? I just don't know. It's
no different to Nagelsmann though. He would just be a yes man. Any young manager,
he is a bit of a character though. He is a bit of
a bit more personality,
a larger than life character. Yeah. I do agree. I think Graham Potter's great. I think Graham Potter, and we were talking about this, Sam, me and you, quite a while ago. I've touted Graham Potter for England manager. I think he'd be an amazing England manager.
I think. I do. I rate him highly.
He battled with Tuchel. Him and Tuchel had a proper he was equal on Tuchel's level in terms of tactical battle in that Brighton game. They were 0-0. Brighton were better than Chelsea, in my opinion, in that game.
And you look what he did to us tactically when we played against him. He singled out the way he set up the team to play against us, and the tactics he employed to single out our weakness, which if no manager or oppositional manager knows that our weakness was our right back. I forgot his name there for a second. Then you haven't been watching the Spurs much, but I thought Graham Potter. I highly rate him. I think
mate.
He needs
Gareth Southgate, anybody?
No.
I'll throw that one in just to see your faces.
Just to trigger us for the thumbnail. Right?
I don't think he'll satisfy the fans.
He wouldn't. No, I agree, but I actually think he's adequate.
I think the only reason he wouldn't satisfy the fans is because he's not a big enough name. I actually think he's better than the vast majority of managers in the Premier League.
And he's incredibly unlucky in Brighton. He's incredibly unlucky at Brighton. Yeah. I actually think I 100% agree with you. I think that he could probably, if Rodgers goes to a bigger club, I think Leicester will probably try and snap him up, and you'll see him probably do quite well at Leicester.
I just want to see Graham Potter maybe in a bit more of a hotter seat.
Everton, Villa, Leicester, one of those clubs.
Just somewhere where he's going to get a little bit more pressure, a little bit more expectation put on him, because there's no expectation at Brighton. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's no expectation. So it's like, all right, if we go down, it's fine, no problem. We'll keep him. And if they start, well done, Graham Potter. In a team where he's got to do something, right, you want to get your top 5 or top 6 or whatever it is, then we'll see how he goes. But I do like him as a manager, and I think.
What about you, Sam? You're not getting away with giving your opinion. Who do you think should be in charge?
That's a real tough one.
Because I've not actually heard who Sam wants. Asking all the questions.
No, I'm still on the fence in terms of I don't even really know if I've got a short list. All I'm going to say is the names that have been touted out so far. It's the likes of Nagelsmann. You've got him on the list. You've got people like I don't know what's the guy's name from Ajax. Ten Hag,
Eric Ten Hag, Benitez has been on the Benitez has been on the list. Scott Parker's been on the list. There's a few names,
Scott Parker, who I like, but again, has he been in a hot enough seat to kind of take this job? I don't think so. But I do like him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I
it's really difficult because Spurs will almost need a bit of, and I've probably used this phrase before, a bit of a hybrid. They need somebody who's experienced enough, that knows what he's doing, has played at the Champions League sort of level, but progressive enough to be flexible in his tactics. Now, Nagelsmann, I guess, fits that bill. Maybe his experience isn't quite up there with, I don't know, someone like Rodgers, but would I take him over Rodgers? I would do, definitely. So, it is a tough one. I'm going to have to say, if I had to make a choice now, I'll go with the bookie's favourite being Nagelsmann, because I think that's what we need. We still need a clear out. We still need to get some players out, and then we can see how we develop over the next 18 months or so.
What about Klinsmann? His name's been dotted about a little bit.
He had a nightmare at Hertha Berlin. He had an absolute nightmare at Hertha Berlin.
Not for me.
He got sacked within like the first few months of his job there. I was thinking Klinsmann as well, but I just I don't think he's good enough.
He didn't do too bad a job when he was manager of the States.
No,
yeah,
true,
but
it's the States, isn't it? That's what I mean.
That's the States, man.
The only reason I'm so sorry, Sam, but the only reason I'm so adamant on Nagelsmann is the improving on players as well. Is if you can kind of make those, even if for a year he can make Harry Winks look better, because if we don't get to sell Harry Winks in the summer and he can make Harry Winks look maybe better than he is, we might be able to just get an extra 10 mil, and that will go so far to us if we can sell Harry Winks. Because Jose shattered all the market values of some of these players, and that's the thing. So we're not going to really be able to sell Ali for a lot, are we?
Good
2-1 City, by the way. So
I don't think these managers that mentioned will keep Kane, as someone just said there at the bottom.
Yeah, that's a good point. You need, and I think someone he's got to see the football philosophy, but I also think he's got to see somebody who's going to come in and want to win. I think Nagelsmann probably fits that bill all round at this moment in time. Right, gentlemen,
a good shout wouldn't be a bad shout, but he's not really the Ajax manager.
Ten Hag.
He's good.
He's really done nothing, but I think he's
his philosophy is good. Gentlemen, we're going to wrap this one up because City are 2-1 up.
They're winning. Yeah, they're winning.
What our opposition is going to be like for Sunday. So our next game is going to be the Cup final.
You're not watching it at home, or?
Well, no, we're going to be going down to the marquee down in Wembley to watch it. So we're going to be doing some networking down there. So we're going to try and do some blogging on the way down.
I'll come around the corner.
Tell you some details later. But like, subscribe, share, comment, Paxton Road TV. Let's get as many subscriptions as possible. Please leave comments down in the comment section below. If you like what you see, please subscribe. But also just give us some, what's your thoughts? What do you think is going to be happening come the weekend? Is Kane going to start? Who do you think our next manager is going to be? Let's be interactive with all our viewers. And thank you very much for watching. Mike, Darius, Marlon, it's been a pleasure as always. Guys, we'll see you very soon.
That's fine. Have a good evening.